Alright, earlier today I posted a pretty quick 3-minute Ashava kill video with some pretty high DPS for level 20 rogue. You can go and watch it. It's on the channel somewhere. And I got a lot of questions about what the build was and how I was getting the damage I was getting. So I thought I'll just make a quick description. First thing to note is a lot of people are very focused on this attack power figure, and they are really focused on, oh, what is your attack power? Something to remember is that attack power is very, very misleading. Okay, as you're leveling up, sure, attack power can be great and it can be used for a number of things, but number up, go green, more damage, right? Not really. Once you get to a level cap, then attack power doesn't necessarily mean that you do more damage. Okay, it says right in the thing, it's an evaluation of the damage you deal. It's not actually scaling it's anything by itself. Okay, so it says based on the offensive stats scaled with your current wielded weapons damage and speed. So this really it kind of a very vague description of, okay, this is how much damage you're going to do. Okay, it doesn't really take into account the actual effects themselves. Okay. For example, crit chance, absolutely, I'm sure that's going into the calculation somewhere, and scaling it, right? But I think like poison damage, we do a lot of poison damage because poison imbuement, that's not being considered here, right? Damage over time increases, core skill vulnerable damage increases, which are conditional damage increases. All that is not being considered. So this is a very, very, very misleading number, and I can guarantee that going forward to the communities, it's going to lead to a lot of very mismanaged builds because they're going to go on, oh, my number go up, mean I do more damage. It's just not the case. Okay, this build itself, Rogue has a lot of very strong legendary synergy that totally no life did, and I got a bunch of Legos. And the core, of course, for the build is the Twisting Blade, where the blades kind of return to you and then they orbit when you use Twisting Blades. So how Twisting Blades works is you damage an enemy, if you put blades in them, and when they return to you, then this legendary makes them orbit. And when they return to you, they do a bunch of damage as they're coming through. And the advantage is that every time with Poison Imbuement, the Twisting Blade dagger hits an enemy, both the primary hit and the return, it all puts poison on them. So it just stacks poison to an absolutely insane amount. This one Lego is just this power rather is so busted. Okay, this combined with the specialization here, inner sight. Okay, when only the boss is available, the boss fills the inner sight gauge so fast, incredibly quickly. And I've noticed that the gauge fills faster the more damage you do. So it's a self-propagating cycle. You do more damage, you get more gauge, which means you do more damage, and it just keeps snowballing. I think out of control, honestly. Okay, the other one here is critical strikes with core skills increase your attack speed by 50, with 30 to 50. This is perfectly rolled. 50% for 5 seconds. This combined with this is bonkers. That's absolutely nutty. Because then you get this specialization. This makes you able to spam your Twisted Blade, which normally costs energy, to cost no energy. And it's busted. Because you have a 4-second window where nothing costs energy, and if you can scale your attack speed to put more blades into them, it just, again, self-propagating, just so much scaling. Okay. The trick, of course, is to have critical strikes. Now, how to ensure you have critical strikes is you take this, you get 4 active shadows from Dark Shard, you get an 8% critical strike chance. So the trick is to essentially have this and this come off cooldown, and as soon as both these are off cooldown, you hit them both. You have 4 active shadows, you get the crit chance buff, imbuement is up, and then you just hold down right click. Okay, that gives you a bunch of crit chance. For even more crit chance, you use this. Damage enemy with Shadow Step increases your critical strike chance by another 8%. This is all added, so 8 plus 8, 16. It just keeps increasing. And then you can, of course, get crit chance on your gear itself. So static, it doesn't look like much. It's only 18% crit chance, which is how much crit chance I have. And one thing to note is this doesn't actually show conditional increases to crit chance. Okay, so now we're doing this. The optimal rotation, if you will, is to have your gauge filled up. You can track it, and then be ready with your imbuement. You're going to shadow step to a mob, press Dark Shroud, then imbuement. Okay, you're going to shadow step, Dark Shroud improvement, and then just go ham. And then when it returns, it does a ton of damage, like so. That was just one combo, right? And this just keeps scaling. The other thing to note is when Twisted Blade returns to you, it refreshes or reduces cooldowns. Now, if your attack speed scaling by 50%, when you're enough gauge, you're just spamming this Twisted Blade. So you have like 10 Twisted Blades in the enemy, and when it comes back to you, it gives you like 6 seconds off your cooldown. It's absolutely bonkers. So you get basically infinite cooldown, okay? Infinite. It's hyperbole, but you get a lot of cooldown back. There's still the things you can do. Attacking enemies with basic skill increases the damage of your next core skill. So occasionally you're holding down right click, just occasionally hold down click, press left click, and hold down right click again. The other one, making an enemy vulnerable, also then further increases your crit chance. So on the boss's back, what you can do is with puncture, just one left click will make them vulnerable. Fundamental puncture will make the enemy vulnerable, which will proc this legendary effect, give you more crit chance. Then you have the 8% from here, you have the 8% from shadow step, plus your gear crit chance, and then I had 100% uptime with this 50% attack speed bonus. It was absolutely ridiculous. The next thing you can also do is have the barrier skill to deal increased damage while you have a barrier active. So if you see there's a barrier on your thing and all your cooldowns are coming down, the combo is absolutely incredible. Really fun to play because it's high skill ceiling. You've got to track all this stuff, but when you do it right, it is so much fun. You just nuke stuff. Okay, you got that barrier running. You do your combo, shadow step 2 3, hold down right click, left click sometimes, right click, left click, and just hold down right click. It's so much fun. I absolutely loved it. There's some quality of life stuff where your basic skill will gain some attack speed. The other stuff is not really that important. Some smoke grenade dodge chance, which can be good, if you're struggling with dodging stuff. One of the things that really help is the shadow step boots. Okay, so these give you an extra charge of shadow step, and essentially every time you do shadow step, you're getting 8% crit chance. So this again, you can keep that crit chance buff up a lot, because this means you have this combined with the CDR from Twisting Blades gives you basically infinite shadow steps, which means you keep that crit chance up on the boss almost at all times. Again, we're just scaling crit chance because this 50% attack speed is an absolutely nutty scaler for our second specialization here. Okay, there's so many poison stacks into the boss. You just nuke the boss just with poison. It's pretty incredible. So to recap, you want Twisting Blades, you want the core skills, give 50% attack speed when they crit. You want the crit scaling on Dark Shroud, crit scaling on Shadow Step. You want the vulnerable one, which gives you more crit scaling. I always have 9% active essentially. Then you have the barrier active for more damage, another multiplier, and of course attacking enemy with the basic skill. So you do this, you make them vulnerable. This gives you the crit chance, plus it increases the damage of your next core skill cast. And if you have imbuement running, then of course your poison skills do a lot more damage. You can take this 30% chance to double the damage, or if you feel comfortable that you can keep your crit chance up at all times, then you can spec into this 75% increased damage when you crit. Again, just a busted amount of damage. You melt stuff with this. There's just nothing. I think this interaction is a little bit too strong, but who knows what the end game's going to look like with the Paragon board out and whatnot. Like, you don't even care what all this stuff is. It'll just help, right? See, lucky hit has a 30% chance to cause an explosion, dealing 23% of the original damage to them. So direct damage would mean damage that we do, and it's always vulnerable. So your poisons are also like, it's when you do an initial hit, it's just also exploding. It's exploding. There's so much damage on the rogue build. Loving it, enjoying it. I rambled on a bit, but hopefully it give you an idea of how to accurately build a character. Okay, work on attack speed, crit chance, increase your twisting blade ranks. These boots, the great thing is they give you dash. You don't even have to spec into it. You just get a free movement skill for no reason. I spec into Shadow Step only because I want this crit chance multiplier. Yes, yeah, that's the build. Twisting blades, core skill. This one, attack speed. You want basic skills, increase the damage for core skill, and then when you make an enemy vulnerable, more crit chance. All to scale this critical strike with core skill attack speed value. And then, of course, you can go into things like barrier and whatnot. Hey, thank you. Bye bye.